Do you want to know how to address dismissive behavior in kids? I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach parenting and good communication and how to build strong family bonds all over the world through the lens of the principle self-government. And in this video, we are talking about dismissive behavior. In this video, we'll talk about dismissive behavior, what it looks like so that you can be aware of what it is, but also what you can do to help your child find a better way to communicate with you. So what is dismissive behavior? Well, that's when they just pretty much ignore you. They don't do what it is that you're telling them they need to do. You might say, okay, you need to clean the room, and they're like, whatever, and they don't. So it's very disrespectful looking. Sometimes it looks like, okay, I'll go do it, but they really don't do it. But usually when people are concerned the most about dismissive behavior, it's because there is a certain tone or feeling associated with the interaction. One that seems like, I don't really care. When you feel like you are indifferent to another person, there is a level of detachment that occurs there, and dismissive behavior gives a sense of indifference. When that indifference is felt, the other person feels incredibly disrespected. Now that may be the whole point of the dismissive behavior. Oftentimes when people display that type of behavior, they are trying to gain some sort of control of their environment or the other people around them. But when it comes to children doing this type of behavior, there are easy ways that you can help them not act that way. I always have told people over the years of teaching parenting and self-government that I do not talk back to children. So that's one thing I'm going to tell you right at the beginning. Do not talk back if they are talking back to you. So if you say, I need you to do whatever it is, and they go, ugh, why do I have to? Or why do you always make me do stuff? Which is a type of dismissive behavior. Then don't answer their question. Do not. They may have a legitimate question and they may actually want an answer to it. Chances are not. Most of the time it's just a complaint that's done verbally to try to gain some sort of an emotional upper hand. But even if it is a legitimate question that they want an answer to, that's not the way to ask the question, because they aren't maintaining their roles properly. And if the roles in the family are not maintained, if the learner doesn't stay a learner and the teacher doesn't stay a teacher, then we end up having dysfunction in the home. In fact, I wrote an entire book about this called Roles: The Secret to Family, Business, and Social Success. In this book, you see a family who has children who don't care and are acting very dismissive, and how frustrating that is for the parents, but also what they do to set it straight. Everyone needs to learn about roles. If you've already subscribed to this channel, then you know I talk a lot about skills when I'm talking about self-government, and these children's books here each teach one of the 4 basic skills of self-government. So the 4 basic skills of self-government help children learn how to communicate better so that they don't try to control by pushing back. The skills of self-government are following instructions, accepting no answers and criticism, accepting consequences, and disagreeing appropriately. When a person learns the steps to those 4 basic skills, that takes care of 99% of their behavioral problems, which actually means the dismissive behaviors too. If you give a person an instruction, the steps to following an instruction are: you look at the person, you keep a calm face, voice, and body, you say okay, or you ask to disagree appropriately, you do the task immediately and then check back. So if the person looks at you and rolls their eyes and then doesn't do anything, now you know exactly what to correct, because you already taught them all of the steps to the skill following instruction. The same goes for all of those other 4 basic skills as well. And by the way, disagreeing appropriately, that should be one of their favorite skills, because the disagreeing appropriately skill should give them the opportunity to talk with you in an appropriate way instead of trying to be understood in a dismissive, inappropriate way. The steps to disagreeing appropriately are to look at the person, to keep a calm voice and body, to say that you understand the other person's point of view, to share your point of view, to listen to what they have to say okay, and then drop the subject. Now let's say that a person does not do one of their 4 basic skills. Let's say that they say whatever, or try to make me, or they just ignore you entirely. What do you do if you're giving an instruction, or maybe it's a no answer? This would be a good time to consult the TSG Choices map. So on the website, teachingselfgovernment.com, we have different resources. There's the courses and trainings, and then there's some helps that help you utilize some of the skills and principles that are taught in the courses and trainings. One of those is the TSG Choices map. So the Teaching Self-Government Choices map helps the children understand what choices they have to make and when, but it also helps you follow through with an interaction. So one thing that starts at the top of the choices map is pre-teach. If you want to decrease the chances of having to get to a correction of a behavior problem, then start with a pre-teach. That's always a good idea. There are 6 steps for a good, effective situational pre-teach. Those pre-teaches help prepare the child to use their skills before they're needed. Then when you give them a skill, they can either accept that and use their skills or not. If they don't choose to use their skills, then you are prompted to do a proper correction. The proper correction is taught in the TSG trainings. There's 7 steps to that correction. It's a calm, very caring correction, but they do get the opportunity to earn a negative consequence. There are certain negative consequences that I definitely recommend that could be used to help the child actually learn to accept consequence better and to be more self-governed, because if they don't get the opportunity to accept a negative consequence, they actually can't learn self-government. So then, after they get the opportunity to accept their consequence, you practice things the right way, tell them what they should have done, and practice those things the right way. Of course, you're going to be praising them the whole time through the interaction, because it doesn't have to be a negative interaction. That's a thing that surprises some people. When you correct your children, it doesn't have to feel negative. Even if they're being rude to you, that doesn't mean that you need to be rude back to them. You've got to try to stop that boomerang effect from happening. So often parents will take the dismissive or rude behavior from their children personally, and then they send it back at the children, and then boom, the relationship struggles at that point. Nobody wants to listen to anyone, and now we're at a phase where we are stuck, going nowhere in the relationship. So knowing how to do a proper correction is a really important thing for handling dismissive behavior. One of the biggest things that you can do is make sure that your child feels understood when they do communicate with you correctly. So if they choose to use their skill disagreeing appropriately, or they get calm and they accept their correction and they're ready to talk about whatever the situation was when they were originally dismissive, be sure to hear them out, listen to what they have to say, and of course, stay calm. Calmness is key in dealing with behavior with children and leading them towards self-government instead of just learning how to manipulate or control. Your self-government and your calmness are going to be vital at helping your children learn calmness and self-government too. They can learn to follow instructions, accept no answers from you, disagree appropriately, and even accept consequences. I've seen it many, many times over the years working with even some of the most difficult neurodiverse children. They can do these skills, but the consistency and the calmness need to be there in the corrections. So in order to help you with your calmness, I actually have a free Calm Parenting Toolkit right now that you can get. In the description below this video, there is a link that says teachselfgov.com/toolkit. If you click on the link in the description now, then you can have the Calm Parenting Toolkit for free. So click on the link now. I'll see you there.